Hugh, what's a good starting question just to spark the discussion that you've got for us?
How should founders approach potential investors when they have no product yet, just an idea and a vision?
Ooh, good
Yeah,
one.
I mean, so look, we've talked this a lot. I mean, look, I think one of the best ways, the best kind of strategy is to, find someone that you think can enhance your idea, that, may be the right investor, and ask for their opinion. Frame it as, not, I want to pitch you an investment. I want to, get your money, but pitch it as, I respect you in the industry. I know you have a lot of knowledge in this area. I'm thinking about this new idea. What can I do? I had somebody from YC, literally a couple of weeks ago, ping me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I want to pitch something to you. I would like your opinion. And that's what it was. 15 minutes. I gave my opinion. And afterwards, like, thanks so much. And it helped formulate his idea. And, they're building something new. So I think everybody loves to have and give their opinion. And when you kind of put it that way, it's very approachable. It's not threatening to an investor. And in most cases, it opens the door into the edge point. If it's something that excites them and influences them, they may write a check.
It's important for those of you who are going to be watching it right now, that just like Greg said, I'm going to pull the principle out, that you do make sure that you talk to the right investor. Make sure you got the right round. So if you're pre-product, pre-revenue, or vision, you're most likely in very early stage angel and friends, family, and associates. People just love you. Maybe rich aunt who bought Bitcoin at $300 was, a profit that way, and can YOLO the money. They'd already set money aside and they said, okay, go with it. But you got to make sure you can talk to the right investor. Money's always there. I am watching big checks get written. I watched a $90,000 check get written the other day, just purely on passion of the founder and, a bit of evidence. But the more traction you have, we're always going to say this, the easier it's going to be to raise investment. And traction does not necessarily have to mean you have to sell, but you have to prove that you know how to go get product market fit, that you got initial interest. And if you can show investors that, they may not be ready for you right there, but eventually they'll, keep tracking on you, or if you keep staying in relation, if you've done it right, like the way Greg said. I'm curious, you brought up a side question. Greg, how many times a week do you get hit up and say, hey, can I pitch you something? Hey, can you invest in this? What's the frequency right
Probably
now?
100 times a week. I mean, probably, yeah. I mean, it's constant, right? And it's funny because look, I used to, and look, I love LinkedIn as a tool. I have one, crazy story with a super, super well-known CEO investor who I was stalking for 2 years and finally got to him via one of his partners in his investment firm from LinkedIn. And when we got on a call with him and the team, he said, Greg, just so you know, this has never, ever happened in my career. And this person, his partner, she has never, ever responded to a cold outreach. So congratulations. And I take that as a super big kudos. Like I said, this is one of my idols in business. But look, I mean, I think, it's the way you pitch it on LinkedIn, right? Look, I get these 10 paragraphs of write-up and a deck sent like every day. And no offense, you pitch it and talk about it all the time. Look, keep it simple. Engage with me. You see my profile, you can look me up. I'm really easy to find. Like, come at me. If somebody would come at me and say, I'd like your opinion, I'd say, sure, let's chat. Nobody leads that way. It's always, here's what we do, like I said, 10 paragraphs and a deck, and would you invest? And it's like, well, you just didn't even get my attention. Like, you missed the mark. And I'm not trying to test you, but it's like, I'm busy too. Give me a soundbite that's super simple. Okay, next.
I don't know what you do, but here's what I do these days. And I'm not at hundreds, but I'm averaging like one a day. Okay. I actually engaged with someone today, but I will scan the message on LinkedIn, and you know how you get a little preview, and I'll read the first line, and I will literally make a judgment call on the first line. And
yeah,
you know what gets me these days? Maybe it's ego, but because it's personalized, when someone starts off with, I watched your video on this, or I really appreciate, I've learned a lot. And then it goes into, I've had questions. So if they've actually paid me a compliment, they did some research, like if you were going to ask me, and I'm not writing big checks at all, like not even close. I'm just not in that game anymore. But if I'm going to write a 5-figure check and you're out there and you're going to sell to someone, and let's say you're selling someone a $10,000 item, you're not going to go in willy-nilly, not knowing anything about the person. You're going to ask questions, all that stuff. You're going to research. So if someone's taking the time to actually get to know me and my digital footprint and invokes that in the first line, I have a much greater chance, I would say 90% chance I'm going to open it. That's what I'm doing. What catches your attention?
Yeah, I know it's really funny. And I'll bring up two sides of it, right? So I got this note, I don't know, a couple months ago. And it was like, they wanted me to engage in a, I don't know, podcast or interview. And it was kind of like my researcher has brought up your name 3 times in a conversation, over lunch. So I had to reach out to you. And the first time I saw it, I was like, well, that's really novel. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's an interesting intro.
Sure.
Now, the problem is I've got that same email like 50 times, right? From 50 different people. So whatever site that they were looking at or whatever email tool they're using for cold emails, you got to change it up. You can't just take the form language. And that's something I would say too, right? Is look, I mean, I get, I write these canned blurb or whatever it might be. But to your point, Ed, and to our point about finding and knowing your audience, is you've got to change it a little bit to meet the need of that person. And look, that's like anybody, everybody's busy. It's like you got a shot with me quick, like get to it. Like give me a zinger, give me something that engages me, right? Because I'm like everybody else. I've got a short attention span and I'm busy and, it's like I'm on the next thing. But I am a person, as you know, that I want to help. I love to give feedback. I do want to help. I believe in this community. And it's funny, I say this too. All of these folks that I'm talking about, these massively long emails and attach a deck, what I respond to them is you need to join Startups.com and learn the ropes. And I say it very kindly, but it's true. There's so much content here and such a great community, just like what we're doing here, that no one should feel like they're alone.
Well, it means a lot to get the endorsement. I appreciate you. At least you're answering. I don't even get around to answering. It's crazy how many I'm deleting. And it's like pickup lines. Like we've got 2 young, attractive women here on this show, and I'm sure they've been hit by so many of the cheesiest pickup lines, and you just hear them over and over again. And eventually, hey, I'm not saying that, I'm going to be approached the same way that if I was like a young lady at a bar, but you really do have to come up with better pickup lines.